On this episode, I'm going to be talking about my 5-year-old Nissan Leaf I bought last year. 1-year update. Today it's in the shop today for in Japan we call it a shock-in. I guess it'd be best explained as government and safety inspection, including emissions check, and it's about $1,000 checkup. We have to do twice a year. And in the meantime, since I don't have the car, I was loaned a special car, which is right behind me. And this car is special because it's the latest updated Leaf that Nissan's put out over here. It's called the Autech. That's why I'm wearing my deep blue shirt, as you can see right here, deep blue. And I got my blue hat on, and I'm ready for this because this car is nothing but blue. Autech is all about the blue, baby. It's a good-looking car, and we're going to go into it. I'm going to go into detail about that car. And in the meantime, let me give you an update on my car. My car is doing great. It did lose one seg recently when the weather got cold. However, I still do pretty well. Let's see, if I'm trying really hard, I can still get about 120 kilometers with the heater on if I drive real carefully. If I don't drive real carefully, I'm getting about 98 kilometers with the heater on in the wintertime. And that's not too bad, considering small battery, lack of regeneration at all with these temps, and losing one seg even. So that's my car in a nutshell. It's doing great, loving it. In the shop right now, getting certified again for another 2 years. And yeah, let's get into this car now. All right, before I get into this any further, I made a mistake. I just watched some of the clips I just did earlier, and you don't do the test twice a year. We do the test once every 2 years. So it's once every 2 years we do the government inspection, and so I get this car for 1 day today. So let's get into it. This car is what they call the Autech. It's a brand new model, just came out into December. As a matter of fact, they just got its license plate on the car 2 days ago, and I'm the very first one to get to drive it. Again, I just lucked out. They didn't have any electric loaner cars while my car was in the shop, so they let me borrow this. It only had 12 kilometers on the odometer when I picked it up. Right now it's showing, what is it showing right now? 66. I put a few kilometers on it. 66 kilometers showing right now. It's got some nice little features to it. They've done a little tweaking to the system since the last one. This is an e+, so it's a 62 kilowatt hour battery on this car, which gives it incredible range. As a matter of fact, my gasometer, when I charged up to 100% last night, said I had a range of about 450 kilometers, and that's in the wintertime with bad. I didn't have a really good kilometers per kilowatt hour score. Kind of high consumption because I don't have any regeneration going into the battery really. Regenerative braking is pretty much useless when the battery's as cold as it is. So 450 kilometers for winter range is not bad. And like I said before in the previous e+Leaf I test drove, the gasometer is usually spot on. You don't want to take any chances. You don't want to think you can go further because it's usually spot on. So yeah, not bad. I'm curious what it's doing in the summertime. But winter range 450 kilometers is showing in eco mode if I take it real easy. Yeah, another thing I did notice though when I hooked up LeafSpy to this car is the battery's always showing brand new. I charged it though. I'm the only second charge on it. It only had one quick charge before this. I'm the second charge on it, and it's already below 100% on battery health. And the HX as well is a little low, I think, considering it's a brand new car. So I found that interesting. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how the battery holds up over time. But in the meantime, when it's new, you get pretty good range. All right, well, color. Obviously, Autech means blue technology, so this car is blue. And it's a beautiful blue, a deep blue with a metallic, it's a metallic blue, metallic flaking in it. Gorgeous blue color on the outside. As well as the interior, all the stitching is done in blue around the steering wheel, and the door panels, on the seats. And as you can tell through my video you're seeing right now, even the seats are a little bit more high-end. They've got a nice quilted seat to them with the Autech stitched on the back. So really nice interior looks. And I like the door panels, the way they have the armrests matching the same color blue as the trim on the seats. Nice job. The gear shift is a piano black, just like the other car. I think it's just a standard E+. But you have a blue ignition switch on this car. It's actually blue. And if you could tell from my video, you have where the fog lights would normally be on the car, you have I guess accent lighting, blue accent LED, blue accent lighting, and they're very bright at night. You glow. Everything lights up blue when you're using those. Unfortunately, there's no switch to turn them off, so they're on all the time. Whether you want them or not, they are on. No switch to turn those off. Also, no switch to turn off the sound. And the driving sound and the backup sound on this car is a different sound. They decided to go something different with the Autech. And honestly, nobody likes it. Everyone I've asked. Not a big fan of the sound. The driving sound is very similar to a Honda, one of the Honda hybrids. And I don't know, the backup sound is just its own unique sound, and not a big fan of that. Yo, now onto the Navi, right, man? So like I was saying, the Navi, they tweaked it a little bit. It's a 9-inch display now on this Navi. I'm telling you, man, it's 9 inches now. 9 inches. Yo, that's nice and all, but I feel like the look of it, it doesn't feel like it's part of the design of the car. It feels like they just threw it into... It really does look like an aftermarket, some kind of aftermarket kit to put this 9-inch display in. It just doesn't match the interior of the car at all, the way they did it. It looks kind of silly. And in all honesty, the 9-inch display is not the best picture quality. The pixels are not very tight. Not the best picture for watching TV on here. It does have a TV tuner built in and probably plays DVDs. But, yeah, not the greatest. However, it is bilingual. This is the first Nissan Leaf that I've ever found with the navigation being bilingual. It can do English or Japanese, which is nice. Unfortunately, the car's information center is still Japanese only, but at least on the navigation you can switch to English, which makes the maps in English, makes the menus in English, everything's in English. It also supports Apple CarPlay. Pretty cool. And now even Bluetooth, Apple CarPlay doesn't work through Bluetooth, but you can access Siri through your Bluetooth as well. The previous models you couldn't do that. So there are some nice things to it, but the drawbacks are picture quality is not very good for looking at the maps, and also like watching movies and TV. Also the maps. My wife was not a big fan of the maps. Not too good on. It looks cartoony. She said it wasn't a good map. The car now comes with 2 USB ports up front and 2 in the back. One of the USB ports is USB-C, and then you have the standard USB 3 up here as well, and then 2 USB 3 ports in the back, or I guess they call them A's, USB-A ports, but they're 3. You have 3 USB-A's, 2 in the back, 1 in the front, and 1 USB-C in the front as well. Alright, so let's get into handling, things like that. So, yeah, I turned off the noisemakers with the thanks to Leaf Spy. I can do that. Yeah, at least you can do that, even though they don't give you a physical button anymore. Too bad Leaf Spy can't turn off the glowing blue LEDs, but well, I can't get them all. With the low center of gravity thanks to the battery underneath, it does give it a feel like it's handling very tightly on the roads. However, the steering is very light, just like the 40 kilowatt-hour Leaf and the 60 kilowatt-hour Leaf. You've got a very light steering wheel, so not much tactile feedback from your steering wheel, which I'm not a big fan of, but my wife sure likes it because it's a very light handle, you know, easy for her to drive. ProPilot's been changed a bit, and they say it has. I can't really tell a difference. If anything, to me it feels like it's not quite as good, personally. I think they tweaked it in the wrong direction, possibly. I get the sense with this car, well, for example, when you stop, the car will, if there's a car in front of you, it'll stop at a light, and then you just hit resume and the car will start going again through ProPilot. However, it cuts out, like about 10 seconds after I hit resume, it cuts out every time. That's kind of odd. I found that weird. As far as anything else, I can't really find anything different than the previous models. They say it's been updated, but I sure can't find anything different. The steering, you could go down one street and the steering, it'll automatically steer for you one time, the next time won't do it at all. It's just weird. So, but it is nice. It's still pretty good. At least it'll steer around, I think around 45 kilometers and up, it'll start doing it for you, as long as you keep your hands on the wheel. With my Honda Sensing, it starts at 65 kilometers an hour, so it's a little bit better for that, as well as it can take turns much better than my Honda can. Yeah, having said that, it's okay. Another thing that's been tweaked, I believe, and I asked my wife, I gave her a quick ride in it just to get her verification on this, is we borrowed the 62 kilowatt e+Leaf before for to try out the battery. Took a long trip, but a few times I did try out the power on it, and it felt, like I said before, it was almost scary. It was great. It wasn't Tesla power, but because it's front wheel drive and the motor's up front and everything, it just gave you a little bit of sense of torque steer. You could feel it, and it was a little gnarly, which I thought was a good job. I thought they, without using too much power, they still gave you a feel of, a little bit of uncontrolled power. With this car, I think they tweaked it to where you don't have that so much. It just doesn't have the pull. It's definitely, you can feel the power. It's way more power than my first gen Leaf. But honestly, the 40 kilowatt hour Nissan Leaf is a lot more fun to drive. This car doesn't have the punch, doesn't have the oomph. It probably also doesn't help that I just test drove the Model 3, the Tesla Model 3, with the, it was a dual motor performance package, so it was, that thing's insane. It'll just throw you, you get a headache, it'll throw your head into the headrest so fast. This car doesn't do that. I would show you right now, but there's a lot of police out today. It's a holiday, and I'm not gonna take those chances. What else? Anything else? No, I think that does it for performance and handling. Like I said, the handling's good. Maybe a slight understeer, possibly because of the lack of tactile feel. I would feel like, I think that. Oh, another thing that's kind of odd is how the safety package is a little weird. For example, you have blind spot sensors on this car, and they're slow though. I would have a motorcycle pass me, and once it's in front of me, it would start going beep, 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 flash the light and beep it. It's like a little late for that. It's out of my blind spot. It's in front of me now. That was a little odd. So I don't know what that's about. The motorcycle, he wasn't even going that fast. It feels like they've got some work to do on this car as far as that. ProPilot. This is the a tuned up version, but the problem with these cars is, unlike a Tesla, they don't do over-the-air automatic updates. So this car's ProPilot within a year will be outdated, and in a couple of years will be antiquated. Am I saying that right? So yeah, that's a big drawback to these cars, not able to get updates either over the air or at the dealership. You get what you get, and if you want an update, you have to buy a new car. Overall, it's a pretty nice car, but is it too little too late for Nissan? So I was talking to my dealer, and even the dealerships are just as upset as we are about, as us owners are, about this new charging program they're starting up in January, where, actually it was in December, where you're going to be paying at least $40 a month just for 10 charges, and that's only for it. They charge every 10 minutes. It's not actually 10 charges. It's actually, was it 200 minutes of charging roughly, something like that. I think my dealer told me. They charge every 10-minute increments. So if you do like an 18-minute, that counts as 20 minutes and things like that. So it's gonna hit you. And if you want equivalent to about what was it? How many charges a month? Equivalent to 40 charges in 1 month. You pay $100 flat rate for those 4, and it's still, once again, it's not truly 40 charges because you're doing 10-minute increments. They charge you on. So that's killing them. I was talking to my dealer, and he's just having the hardest time. So I don't know. This new car, Nissan's hoping it's gonna, you know, persuade people. But this car is in the $60,000 range, I think. And it's close to, maybe it's more closer to 50,000. I can't remember now. I'll get back to you on that. But it's a very expensive car, and it's nice and all, but battery, we don't know about the battery, how the longevity is on it for health. It's summertime, it looks like you're going to be going pretty slow charge rates. We don't have any decent charge network over here as it is for quick charging this car. And then the chargers we have, you get one per location, and it's getting harder and harder to find one that we don't have to wait. Gosh, it has some new features that are nice, but honestly, I still stick by I love the first gens. The first gens, I think they were the sweet spot for Japan at least. The range wasn't near as high as this, but they charge really quickly. The batteries on the 2012 and on first gens, the batteries are looking pretty decent. They have good health on them. We know that now. We got the data back. This car, we don't have any data on it. No, of course not. And so I don't know. It's gonna be tough to say. I made a video a while back about Nissan cutting their throats basically with the EV market. You know, a few years ago they were on top, and they have made some really poor decisions in the past 3 years regarding their EVs, and now they've just slipped way back. And I don't think the moves they're making aren't making any sense if they want to try to get back in the driver's seat of the electric market. No pun intended with the driver's seat. But yeah, it's a nice car, but for the price, I would hold out and get something else. Even over here, there are other options. Honda's got that new Honda E, or it used to be Urban E, but now it's called the E, I guess. It's coming out real soon over here. Sometime in the fall, I think. And we already have the 3s over here. The 3s are very similar to the price, of especially used. Those are options you can think about. This car, yeah, it's a tough one. It's up to you, because you know how I feel, guys. I'm just giving you the facts on this car, what the differences are on this versus the previous models. And it's up to you to decide if this would be something you'd pay for. I'll get the price to you, and I'll have the price in a second. I don't have it on top of my head right now, and yeah, because that's one thing I don't like about reviewers is they go by their impressions and by what they feel like are their needs and things like that. And everyone has different needs for an EV. Everybody has different needs. Some people, this car would be more than enough for them. And it'd be a great car. They like the styling. I like the styling. I love the paint. I love the paint. The wheels are hot. Those are nice wheels. But just overall, it just isn't enough to wow me, I think, into keeping with these new prices they're going to be charging. Nissan's going ridiculous on the charging. They went from $20 a month for, you know, it was a flat rate $20 a month and you could use as much as you wanted, to now charging $40 a month just for equivalent to 10 charges in a month. And if you want like 40 or more, you have to pay about 40, not more, about 40 charges. You get you have to pay $100 a month just for the service. And so that's a big jump. And what that's doing to the customers is like, wow, you went from this to all the way up to here in like a 5-year period, 6-year period. They're thinking, what are you gonna do in the next 4 or 5 years? Is it gonna get even worse? And already over here, there's nothing enticing you to buy an EV. They've taken everything away. Like I told you, those little K cars, those little 660cc engine cars already get way better deals on taxes. Your car tax is much lower on those. Your highway fees are much lower on those. Parking fees are much lower on those. Registry, just all kinds of things are cheaper on those cars. Maintenance is very inexpensive on those cars as well. As you can imagine, they're small engines. And Honda and Toyota and Nissan, all those guys, they make such a good car that the maintenance is very low on a K car as well. And I mean, even the shock-end's cheaper on the K cars. Even that government safety thing you have to do every 2 years is much cheaper on a K car than even an electric car. So there's no incentives to really push you to get the EV. So it's up to the dealership, or the manufacturer, I should say, the OEMs. It's up to the OEMs to make a car affordable and appealing to an EV person and keep it affordable. They used to have this graph showing the long-term cost and how much a better deal was you might have to pay more at the beginning, quite a bit more, than a gasoline counterpart, but the overall cost would be much lower in the long term. They can't do that graph anymore. That graph's gone with these new programs they've got going and stuff. To me, it feels like Japan is very anti-EV. I get that feeling very much so. I mean, part of it is because the government's very anti-competition from foreign companies, but it's just also they talk a lot. They talk a big game, but when it comes down to it, they don't believe it. They don't believe in global warming, and as I don't either. But for the EV market, most people that buy EVs, as you know, believe in global warming and they want to make a difference, and that's why they buy these cars. And for them, I feel bad for the people that believe in global warming and they want to. It's unattainable over here almost. It's really hard to afford the better car for the environment. So yeah, that's my take on it. But I mean, you make the decision whether this car would work out for you. My daughter likes it. She likes some of the gizmos and gadgets it has in it. But you know, she wasn't with me when we did the Model 3 test drive. And I wish I could have videotaped it to show you guys what I thought, what my wife thought. We were very impressed with those cars. You know, even the lowest model comes with standard power seats. This car is almost the same price as the entry-level Model 3. And this doesn't have power seats, doesn't have leather seats, doesn't have the ProPilot's very, very subpar to the autopilot. Doesn't have the power. The range is about the same, I guess. The range would be close, I think. The wheels are nice on this. I'll give it that. It does have some nice features. Yeah. Anyways, that is my video for today. I know you guys noticed me changing my hat quite a bit. That was kind of an ongoing joke. Also, I don't know if you caught it, but I wonder if you could count how many times my watch has changed. Now, the time is not correct on my watches because I have so many of them. I kept changing my watches for this video to see if you guys would catch that. Just being goofy. It was going to be a very short video. It turned out to be a little longer than I expected. But I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this review of the new Autech 62 kilowatt hour e+Leaf. And maybe it'll come to your town too sometime in the future. Alright guys, thanks for watching.